Alright, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about the little delay. I also apologize, I have not made an upload in over a month on my main channel, so I don't really have time to upload or edit videos right now, so I just wanted to do something kind of interesting, play around for a second, make a quick video before anything changes. So I'm going to be going over and ranking every Zelda game. This is as of up to date 2023. I think Echoes of Wisdom is the only one that hasn't been added, but I think everything else is on here. Which I have not played Echoes of Wisdom. Which I would have put in have not played. I'm going to be trying to do all these from their original release all the way up to the latest. I may do some out of order just because I can't remember which one came next, but I'm going to try and do them in order as best as I can. Starting off with the very first Legend of Zelda back in 1986, I believe. It's either 86 or 87. This game was revolutionary for the adventure genre. Shigeru Miyamoto definitely put quite a lot of his heart and soul into this one. However, this game, after recently playing it, this game is not aged as well as some of the other Zeldas. It's incredibly tedious. The enemies are quite hard to beat. The bosses are tedious. A lot of it's very, it pummels you to the ground and gives you very little room for mercy. So, while it is a good game, I will admit, and it was definitely a game of its time, and without it we wouldn't have all the other Zeldas, it has definitely not aged as well as some of the others. But, this was the pioneer days of gaming. This was the late 80s, for crying out loud. I mean, only like 2 or 3 years ago. Before that, we had the great video game crash of 82, 83. And video games were not doing well at this time, and this is when Nintendo was really starting to step onto the scene. And with The Legend of Zelda, it really even increased their more well-renowned figure. So, The Legend of Zelda, I still think is a good game. It has not aged well, but it definitely deserves its praises, but it has its faults. I think it is a C tier. C tier. Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. This is when they went down a bit of a more... Sorry about all the people driving by. I live right next to a highway. This is when they went a different approach from Legend of Zelda, and they've never really done it again because, quite frankly, it sucked. They went a Castlevania route with Zelda, and it does not work at all. Like, the gameplay is some of the most frustrating, outrageous, angry-inducing game I've ever played. One of the most... What year did that come out? Legend of Zelda 2. Adventures of Link. Released January 14th, 1987. Sorry, I guess the faggot convention's in town. So, yeah. While it seems like you see right here, most people rate, 4 out of 5. No, this game was a pain in the ass to play. It's incredibly difficult. It's tedious. It's frustrating. 84% like this video game. Really. I'm not one of those. Yeah, it definitely... I think even Masahiro Sakurai said that they could have done more with it. And I kind of agree. I think it was pushed out way too fast. The development there's so many bugs in the game. So many bugs. The game is just not really that enjoyable to play. It's more frustrating than anything. Adventures of Link, I think, is going to be the first one I'm going to put into F tier. And it might be the only one I'll put into F tier. We'll see. Let's see. Where is... Where's Legend of Zelda? Here we go. Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. So I'm going to put... I've never really played, the other versions. I think there's one where it's like, oh, you have one for the Wii, one for this, or whatever. No. I'm just going to be ranking the first one that I played. The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past is a masterpiece. They basically took everything that was great about the first one, threw the second one in the garbage, and just went full balls to the walls. This game is so perfect, it could pass for a modern indie game. The graphics on that game, the pixel graphics of the game is still just stellar to look at. I literally, whenever I go and play that game, I literally feel like I'm playing a modern indie game because it's so beautiful. The teleportation system, the weapons system, the boss fights, the enemy fights, everything that's set up in the game for the 2D standard Zelda, it was just a great game. Everything about this is a Zelda where I would go back out of my way to play it again. The first Zelda, I would play it at an arcade with my friends, but I would not play it alone by myself because it takes forever and it's annoying. And then the Adventures of Link is everything bad about the first Zelda, and then put it in Castlevania. So, yeah, they really did a great job with Link to the Past, and I'm so grateful that I can go back to Link to the Past. Came out in 1992. Yeah, April 13th, 1992, which was just an awesome game. I'm curious, what's the rating for that one? Doesn't say. Oh well. I love Link to the Past. Awesome game. One of my all-time favorite Zeldas. Alright, I think after Link's Awakening is, I think it's Link's Awakening, right? I think it's Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening. Okay, no. Initial June 93. Yes. I think I've played it once. It was a very long time ago. That was back on the Game Boy days. Yeah, Game Boy. What I do remember is that, for a handheld, I've never really cared for handheld Zeldas for that matter. I do think it was, at least a decent game from what I remember. I don't remember too much on it though. But from what I remember, it played well. It was at least half decent to play through, although I never completed the game or anything like that. It definitely was just a good, decent game. If I ever get a chance to play it again, I probably would play it again. Although it's getting harder and harder with Nintendo nowadays, charging $80 for 30-year-old games. So I think it's a B tier. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think after that was Four Swords. No, that's right. After Link's Awakening for the handheld, they came out with the one and only Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time is a masterpiece on so many levels. Is it the greatest video game of all time, like some people like to claim? No, not by a long shot. But the influence that this game, not only for the Zelda franchise, but as the gaming industry as a whole and the adventure genre, is astronomical. I mean, the influence that would carry on from this game is just incredible. The stellar gameplay, the transition from 2D to 3D, the overarching narrative and story of the video game, the character development of Link as this young boy who's transformed into adulthood to fight an enemy and defeat the enemy that no one ever knew, and has to give it all up once again. The open world game, which was fairly new concept for the time. When I say fairly new, there have been other games at the time that had released, like Daggerfall and whatnot. But there really was no other game like Ocarina of Time when it first came out. I mean, this game came out 4 years before I was born, so it definitely stands the test of time for how small and little of a game it was compared to how big open world RPGs are nowadays. This was basically the Kickstarter of it all, and I couldn't imagine the gaming industry without this game. So Yeah. Yeah, definitely deserves of an S tier. Let's see. The next one is Majora's Mask. So there's the game. That's the 3DS version. I am going to be ranking the Nintendo 64 version. This game is one of the biggest pain in the asses to play through. Now, I know people like to say, oh, well, it's got an amazing narrative and whatnot. And I agree. Majora's Mask has a awesome narrative, but the problem is that it's a video game. It's not a movie. It's not a comic book. It's not a series or anything like that. It's a video game. Playing through this game with a time limit and the rush development of this game from the release of Ocarina of Time from 98 to 2000, like I think it was developed a little under 2 years. They had to reuse so many assets from Ocarina of Time to Legend of Zelda, from Majora's Mask. Some of the boss fights in Majora's Mask are some of the most annoying, tedious game in all the franchise. And I've played Adventures of Link, and I can say, especially the final boss. I mean, unless you have like all the hearts, everything unlocked, it is one of the biggest pain in the asses imaginable. And it is. Well, I do appreciate a lot. Sorry, I knocked over a bunch of my note cards here. Well, I do appreciate Majora's Mask's narrative and what it did for the adventure genre and whatnot. There's so many problems with this game that it's kind of hard to play. It's hard to enjoy because of all of its faults. While there is a lot of great things that's in Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, there's a lot of bad. The rupee system is bad. The whole idea of a time limit for a Zelda game, at least in my opinion, just doesn't work at all. Especially when you're scrambling like a nut job. You can't really enjoy the game. You're just frantically trying to run to the next boss and get ready for everything that is to come. You can't really be immersed into the world like with Ocarina of Time. You're just pummeled to the ground and expect to run the gauntlet. So I like its themes. I like the characters. I love the progression of the story arc and what that is in Majora's Mask. But again, playing this game on the N64, especially with the N64 controller, removes brain cells and fuels frustration like gasoline. So I think I'm going to put it right behind the original Legend of Zelda. It's still a good game, I will say, but it has so many faults. Alright. Moving on. Trying to remember what was the next game after after that one. I honestly don't remember. You know what? I'll go ahead and rate Majora's Mask on the DS. So for the DS version of Majora's Mask, they definitely improved a lot of the faults that came from the N64. But ultimately, I'd still say a lot of the faults are still there, and it still it makes it a lot better, but it still brings it down. I'm gonna put it in a B tier. Okay, what was the next one? I think it was like Oracle of Seasons and Ages. Okay, here's also for the 3D version Legend of Zelda. I don't think it's quite as... I'll just go up and put it in S tier. Alright. What's the next one after that? I don't really remember. Is it the Minish Cap? Yeah, it's the Minish Cap. I have played through the Minish Cap before, and it's alright. It's not as...
Were you gonna let all the bugs in?
Do what?
So were you gonna let all the bugs in?
I don't know, I thought we had like a gas leak or something for a second. Because I was trying to like light the stove or whatever, and then all of a sudden I just started to smell this real funky smell, so I turned it off and I opened up the thing.
Okay. Show me what you was doing.
Okay, well I'm streaming.
Well, real quick, I think this is more important than your fucking stream, dog.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm not giving that done.
Alright, night, Nelson.
Good night. Yeah, I definitely smelled that gas thing though as soon as I came in the room. Like that smell of like gas. So I see what you're smelling, or I smell what you're smelling, I should say.
Did you smelled it in my room?
As soon as I walked in. But it was actually more or less when I turned that on.
The AC?
I don't smell it anymore. Sometimes that thing lets out like a bit of an aroma, because I'm pretty sure it's also powered by gas.
Oh.
Actually, no, that's not gas. That's electric.
Okay.
That's the thing. Although this thing, when they turn on the heater, it does emit, there is fire that pops up.
Okay, well, we got the carbon monoxide alarms, so...
Yeah, if it was really dangerous, it would blink. Also, very important, I forgot to mention this to you. I need to read this.
What's that?
We have a new property manager. We don't have the blonde woman anymore. And then rent is due the 1st, but I won't have rent due the 1st. It'll be after.
Okay. Well, I can pay my part Friday.
Yeah, I won't have that because I'm gonna pay my car payment.
Okay. Rent's due first in each one. Grace period is provided until the 3rd. Maintenance issues.
See, that's the thing though. Is mine will be after the 3rd when I pay. I don't know what that is.
You gotta pay it.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't gonna get paid. It won't get paid within that grace period.
Okay.
So
who's the new property manager?
It says it on there. It says who they are.
Residents. Yolanda Morales. Oh crap! We got a Mexican. I don't care. I live with the Mexican.
They're not Mexican.
They're Guatemalan.
Yes. No, but yeah, we got new property stuff.
We live with a Mexican, so we get to say Mexican as much as we want.
Not when he's not around.
Bullshit.
We got deported.
He did not get deported.
Florida's pretty close. It's close to Cuba, so
Oh man.
close enough.
Close enough. All right.
I forgot that. That was on our door for me when I came in today. So
Okay.
we'll let Calvert know when I pick him up Saturday. Also, I didn't realize today is. I thought today was Thursday, dog.
Today's Wednesday.
It was Wednesday. That makes me want to cry. Okay, go to bed. Good night.
Night, Dustin. Okay. Sorry about the interruption. It's slightly ajar. Oh, where was I? I think it was on the Minish Cap. Yes, the Minish Cap. I think the Minish Cap is a B tier. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a B tier. I think it goes probably above Majora's Mask, but yeah. Alright, what was the next? What's the Link's crossbow training? That was just kind of boring. I've played it. It wasn't that great. Alright. Is it the original Hyrule? Yeah, that's the original Hyrule Warriors. Yeah, I liked it. It was alright. Yeah, I think it's a B tier. Where's that one? I need my glasses. I need my glasses. I can't see, I'm blind. What's this one? I can't tell what Zelda that is. I'm just gonna put have not played. Triforce Heroes. I have not played Triforce Heroes. Okay, well, jump right there. I know that one's not next, but I'll go ahead and rank it. So this is Breath of the Wild, which is an S tier game. I mean, come on. It's quite possibly one of the best in the whole franchise. I mean, take elements that was great from basically all of the original Zelda games and then put it into a grand open world, and that's basically Breath of the Wild. Spirit Tracks. I thought Spirit Tracks was okay. I was never really thrilled about Spirit Tracks. I remember playing it a little bit on the 3DS way back in the day. I liked how it incorporated 3D, 2D things that were going on in the game, but ultimately I wasn't. For most 2D Zelda games, they're always lesser to that of the console versus the handhelds. But ultimately, I still think it was a good game, so probably just a B tier. I think that's the original Triforce Heroes right there. I have played the original Triforce Heroes, although it's been a very, 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 very long time. I don't think it's fair for me to rank. Yeah, it's not fair for me. It's been so long since I've played that. Alright, Wind Waker. Wind Waker. This one is probably one of the most polarizing Zelda games in terms of the 3D Zelda games. Let's see, when did the Wind Waker come out? This was the early 2000s. Wind Waker. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Oh. Yeah, this was back on the GameCube days. That's not right. GameCube. Release date. (2002). Okay, so this came out the same year I was born. Wind Waker is definitely one of those games at the time where people didn't really like it because of its cartoony aesthetic, but then people began to appreciate it. Was it really 2002? So just 2 years after Majora's Mask. That's incredible. Wow, well that's definitely an upgrade from Majora's Mask, I'll tell you that, because Wind Waker, I mean, just absolutely blows Majora's Mask out of the water. And quite honestly, I think it's a better game than Ocarina of Time because it takes everything that was great about the two original 3D Zeldas and adds on to everything that was going on. Great story, great development of characters, gameplay, the aesthetic. I know at the time it was kind of considered a bit polarizing, but I have always enjoyed it, and looking back on it, I wish we could get another Zelda kind of like that. I love the exploration aspect of it, and finding treasure in the grand open sea. I would really, really appreciate something like this from another Zelda instead of like, oh, we're another grand open world in Hyrule. This time, it's all... They really did something really different and unique with this Zelda, and I truly appreciate the developers of this game, and it really added on to everything that was special about the initial two 3D Zeldas. So I'm actually going to put that here. I'm going to put it above Ocarina of Time. Next up, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom, wow. I mean, basically everything that's great about Zelda, yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be the most talked about game for the next 15 years. It's going to be definitely considered the peak of Zelda. And I doubt that they'll be able to top anything like that again. They can get close, and they can develop something unique and distinct from Tears of the Kingdom. But Tears of the Kingdom was basically everything that was great about all of these games. Add them together, took Breath of the Wild, and then expanded upon it. So, yeah, great. I mean, just almost a flawless game. Really, everything, and the building aspects and everything. Anyways, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. It's a great game. Let's see. Hyrule Warriors. I have not played the Hyrule Warriors. Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Okay, I think that's for the GameCube. I originally did play it on the GameCube, so I'm just going to go ahead and just put it right there for right now. Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword. The very first Zelda I ever played. Ocarina of Time was. This was the second one I played. This was definitely a very unique one, especially with the motion control aspect for the Wii. It's kind of a hit or miss, mostly miss. The story to it was interesting, the characters, but mainly one of the big problems of Skyward Sword is is the motion controls, which brings it down a lot, in my opinion. A lot of times with the Wii, the motion controls could be quite tedious and fickle, but it is a good game, and it definitely put a unique spin on the open world aspect. And I loved how the game just kept on expanding onto it. But then there's a lot of areas where you have to backtrack, and which is not fun at all, having to replay areas that you've already played through, just with a little bit different things here and there. But for the most part, it's still a good game. I think it belongs at the top of B tier. Yeah, probably at the top of B tier. Oracle of Ages. That's another handheld Zelda I've played a few times. It's not really fair for me to rank that one, so I'll just put it there. Is that Link to the Past again? If it is, I'm just going to put it here. I can't really see. Okay, so this is for the Switch, I think. Which I've not. I'm just going to put it at the top of B tier. Phantom Hourglass. I didn't really care for the Phantom Hourglass. Yeah, it's an okay Zelda. The story narrative is subpar. It's okay. It's enjoyable. The 2D, 3D elements are cool. I like it. But when you're comparing this to right after, basically to me, this whole game feels like just a Wind Waker spin-off. And, just to go right off of the glory of Wind Waker to have this, it just kind of feels very... I feel very cheated. I still think it's alright, but it's nowhere near the glory as some of the other Zeldas. I think it belongs in B tier, probably right, but I think I like the Minish Cap was a little bit better, so I'll put that right above that. Next up, Twilight Princess. One of the most highly acclaimed Zelda games of all time. When people talk about Zelda games, the big ones they always probably mention are Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom kind of play hand in hand, because Tears of the Kingdom is just a direct sequel to it. So those two, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, and Link to the Past. For me, Twilight Princess wasn't as enjoyable as some of the others. The boss fights are cool, most of them anyways. The overarching narrative, how Ganon returns, and some of the unique gameplay designs and how you would transform into a wolf and use Midna to move through puzzles and stuff like that. That was also one of the things about Twilight Princess, that there were so many freaking puzzles, and some of them are so annoying. But some of the dungeons are really cool. It loses a lot of its luster because it's technically not an open world. It's more of follow the line. I like Twilight Princess, but ultimately it has some problems, at least for me. It's mostly just me, really. I think it's an A tier. I think it's an A tier. It's not quite as good as some of the others up here, but it's still a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and put that one up here. Another Hyrule Warriors I've not played. Four Swords. I've not played the new Link's Awakening. I've not played hardly any of the Hyrule Warriors. I have not played this one. I have not played this one. I think this is the original Four Swords. I played it, I think, once or twice. I think it's a pretty cool, unique concept, but a lot of the ways that the Four Sword characters and whatnot work is not really that grand. It's kind of annoying. I don't know. I don't think it'd be fair for me to rate that one because it's been so long since I've played any of the Four Swords. Let me move these around a little bit. I'll start. That stays there. That stays there. That stays there. Hyrule Warriors. Spirit Tracks. Yeah, that stays. That can move up. That can move up. These can stay here. These can stay here. Wind Waker. Just put that here. Breath of the Wild. Okay, so this is a 3DS version. I'm gonna put this here and put that there. Yeah. Okay. So starting off to recap, I think that's how I want to. Yeah, I think that's how I want everything. To recap, all these I've not really played, so it's not fair for me to try and. If I haven't played them, I've played them just a tiny bit, so it really wouldn't be fair for me to try and rank them. F tier is Zelda 2. I mean, Zelda 2 is one of the most. Yeah, it's probably by far one of the worst in the whole franchise. Link's crossbow training, it's an okay game. It's just a spin-off game. It's functional. It's not very fun, but it works. C tier, we have the original, not the 3DS version, but the original Majora's Mask, which is painfully unfun to play a lot of times and can be quite unenjoyable to play. It has a very interesting narrative, very interesting character progression, but where it falls is the gameplay aspect. So the next one is the original Legend of Zelda, the one that started it all. It was definitely a very good game for the time. However, it's not aged very well, but without it, we wouldn't have all of this. So I have to have a special place for it, and I do. I have a very special appreciation for the original Legend of Zelda. Next up is Spirit Tracks. Spirit Tracks is a good game, especially for handheld. And that's really all I need to say about it. It's just a good game. The next one is the handheld 3DS version of Majora's Mask. Basically, it takes out all the bad stuff and tries and revamps everything from the original. They did a decent job fixing a lot of things in the game to make it a lot more functional. So that way you're not trying to scramble to get everything done before you just fall to pieces. Next one is the Phantom Hourglass. Decent game. I still think it's better than Spirit Tracks. Next one is this Hyrule Warriors, which I did play. I forget which one. Hyrule Warriors Legends. I played it a few times. It's a fun game. That's all I really have to say. Next one is the Minish Cap. What's up?
Water?
Yeah.
It's boiling?
Okay. Where was I? Okay. Then you have Link to the Past, or Link's Awakening. For handheld, for the original first handheld, it's a good game. I don't really need much to say about it. Skyward Sword, good game, cool concept. Due to the motion controls, it has a lot of issues. Now I will say that I've not played the Switch version, so I can't really say how much better the Switch version is. So that's why I just kind of have them linked together, pun not intended. And then finally comes. Next, we have Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess, great game, has some faults. Mostly, it's just tedious things, little nitpicks here and there. Still an awesome game. Would recommend it to just about everyone. But it's not quite the Legends. Again, pun not intended. Next one is, I think that's Link. That's Link to the Past, right? I can't tell. What is that one? Or is that Link's Awakening? Oh, that's Link's Awakening for the Game Boy Color. Okay. I'm just gonna put it right next to the regular one. Yeah. It's just the original game, but with color. So, next one is, for the first one on S tier, is Ocarina of Time. It's the last place of the S tiers, but it's definitely deserves its praise. Next one is Link to the Past. In my opinion, it is the all-time best 2D Zelda. Nothing beats it. Nothing even comes close, in my opinion. It's just a perfect game to just play and enjoy. Next one is the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time. It's just basically a revamped version of the original. Not much to say about it. It's just everything that was this one, just with better graphics and whatnot. Next one is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I know some people might be mad at me that I'm putting Wind Waker over Breath of the Wild, but Tears... why did I say that? Tears of the Kingdom. Wind Waker over Breath of the Wild. But Wind Waker, for what it was, and for the time that it came out, it just blows especially for the time, for the era that it came out. It was just a perfect game, and it's quite honestly a little bit more enjoyable to play than Tears of the King. I'm sorry, than Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild has all these little meter systems and whatnot that become tedious and frustrating after a while. And then finally we have Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is quite possibly one of the greatest games of all time, really. Especially for open world RPGs go. Everything that's been great about all the Zelda games is basically encapsulated into this game that's based off of a sequel that at the time was probably going to be the best Zelda, but yeah, I think that's how it would go. I think Tears of the Kingdom still is the best one, but the Wind Waker and these others are very close contenders. I don't think it's because these games have faults or anything like that they're lesser than Tears of the Kingdom. I think it's literally just because of the time that these games came out and the resources that they had when they built these games can't compete with the modern tools that we had when they developed Tears of the Kingdom versus all these others. Great games. Definitely every single last one of these should be played. These are definite right here. This is definitely a good one to play. These are all good games here. Then you start getting into the ones that have issues but still are classics. Then you have one that's just boring, and then you just have one that flat out sucks. And these others I have not played. So, anyways, guys, I gotta go check up on my pasta, and I'll upload a video in another 2 months.